Now it's time to show you the second set of wheels, the fronts. Now with the fronts, I did have a little bit of a problem. We have here, the rears are right here and the fronts are here. And you can see the rears, how thick they are. And now when you look at the fronts are also very, very wide. Now when I calculated all of this for the fronts, the size that I ended up choosing was 225, 50, 17. And so I thought it was going to be okay because according to the calculator, the width of the tire was going to be a little bit less than 9. So unfortunately that's not the case. The width of this tire ended up being 10 inches wide. And so now 10 inches wide caused big problems because it's a lot bigger than what I had calculated. Now the back spacing on these wheels, I was limited. I couldn't choose the back spacing. So I was forced to get a 0 offset, which means that the hub is actually directly in the center of the rim. So 4.5 inch back spacing, because this is an 8-inch wide rim, okay, which ends up being 9 inches when you count the beads. So 4.5 inches of back spacing. So now, though the tire doesn't touch anything on the inside, the problem lies with the tire touching this part here, which is the inner fender. So the tire actually comes out to here. Now it wouldn't be a problem because it's still behind the fender. It's not really a problem if I had the car raised up. But because I want the car to slightly have a very small or minute tuck, basically I want the tire right under the fender right here. If I hit a bump, it's going to rub. If I make a turn and I hit a bump, it's going to rub. So basically it's just going to rub, and I don't want any rubbing. So the 225 is a little bit too thick because, and this is what I think, if you look at the rubber from the actual metal, it actually protrudes a whole lot. And this is the rim protector. But when I look at the back wheels, you see it only protrudes very little. So for some reason, they made this tire to protrude a whole lot. So when I did the recalculations, because now I'm considering that the tire is going to be 1/2 inch wider than what I expect the tire to be according to the calculator, because with this one the width was 10 inches according to the calculator and the tire ended up being 11. So the width for this one was 9 inches and the tire ended up being 10 inches wide. So I conclude that if I make the tire 8 inches wide, then it'll end up being 9 inches wide, which will give me a whole inch to play with as far as trying to get it to fit under the fender. So that's what I'm going to have to do, and the size that is going to permit me to have the 9 inch is 205, 50, 17. Now as far as the height of this tire, we all know that this is 26. This one is 25.9, which is why I chose this measurement. I wanted them to be somewhat the same, but under the circumstances I'm gonna have to make this smaller. Now when I go to 205, 50, 17, the tire is going to shrink down to 25.1 inches. So basically a little bit less than an inch smaller than this one. But the sidewalls, now here's both sidewalls, this sidewall is only 0.4 inches bigger than this one, which is roughly about a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch, somewhere in between there. So now when I change over to the 205, the sidewalls are going to be exactly 4 inches each. So in a way it's going to work out for the best. I just hope that I can fit it under the car when I exchange it. So I'm back with the new tires, and so first I'm going to give you a subframe measurement with the new tires before I show you what the tires are doing to the fenders. So I have the measuring tape already set up, and you can see there it's a little over 3 3/4, almost 3 7/8 inch high off the ground. I will probably adjust it to go higher, maybe up to 4 1/8 or 4 1/4, but I'll have to see as I work with the tires. Now I get to show you the good stuff. How did the tire fit? Get the light. Okay, so I did get the 205 50 17s, and now I have the tire behind the fender, and now I have the added clearance that I needed for this right here. So I got some space here. So let's see if I can get a shot of it on the floor looking up, so you can see there the clearance that I now have. So now I'm going to turn the wheels, that way you can see the clearances with the wheels turned. Okay, so I got the wheel turned, and you can see I still have clearance with the wheel in the turned position. Obviously I have plenty of clearance in the back, plenty of clearance. It doesn't touch the subframe or the back between the inner fender and the tire. So I have great clearance there. And we'll check out the other side. So there it is. Great clearance. And then we'll just show you the subframe clearance just for the hell of it. Where is it? Right there. So you see plenty of clearance. So I'm happy, very, very happy with the results in going with a slightly smaller tire. So now I'm going to take it off and show you what the tire looks like next to the big tires. So here are the tires, and you can probably see the difference between the front and the rear. This one over here is the rear, and this one's the front. Now I took a measurement of this tire as far as height, and it is in fact 25 inches. So this is 25, this is 26. The side walls are both 3 inches away from the rim, 4 inches from the bead all the way to the end of the tread. So they're both exactly the same. So now we have pretty much a symmetrical tire as far as the sidewalls are concerned. I'm very happy with the way this tire fits as opposed to the 225. I did go through trial and error to figure this one out, but I have to say it was worth it. So there you have it. I finally got it done, and I'm very pleased with the results. I got my big fat tire in the back, and now I have my front tire fitting with no rubbing, and I still get a dropped look, which is what I was going after. Now I want to recap or reiterate that the fact that I had to go down to 205 because the rim that I chose did not give me options to change the back spacing. If I had 5 inch of back spacing rather than the 4.5 inch back spacing, I would have been good to go with the 225. But because I was limited with the back spacing to 4.5, the 225 rubbed, and so I was forced to do a little sacrificing to get my setup to work. I'm not going to change the rims. I'm very happy with the rims, and I don't really have a choice. So I had to go with a smaller size tire. Now in the end it worked out. I mean, it looks great. The tire is just, it just looks great. I mean, when you're standing back looking at the Nova, the tires are going to pretty much look, as far as the sidewall, symmetrical. And you're still going to have that big tire in the back, smaller in the front look that a muscle car generally has. So I'm very happy with the results. But I just wanted to make that clear. If I had more backspacing or more options as far as backspacing, I would have been able to use the first choice. Well, I'm finally done with this project, so now I get to tackle the next project. Until then, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.